The ultimate wholesale.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Top Wholesaler Secrets, the 4-part series on how to go from 0 to 6 and 7 figures in as short as time as possible with wholesale real estate. What's up, guys? This is your main man, Chris Enze, aka
The ultimate wholesale.
If you're seeing this video, that means that you're looking to do your first or next wholesale deals within the next 30 to 90 days, right? All right. Now, if that's true, you're definitely in the right place. If you remember in the overview of the Top Wholesaler Secrets, we talked about the 4 management roles that the top wholesalers around the country have in place that helps them grow and scale their businesses. If you don't remember, here is a quick review. We have the acquisitions manager role, we have the seller manager role, we have the buyer manager role, and to round it all out, we have the closing manager role. Now, in this video, we're going to be covering the role of the acquisitions manager position and the top 3 things that you need to do and understand and implement in order to get your next deals completed within the next 30 to 90 days. The acquisition manager role is the most important role of your business because without it, there really is no business. If you're not consistently connected with sellers, you're not going to have the opportunity to buy a house at a discount. Now, the only 2 things that an acquisition manager really does is, number 1, market to sellers, and number 2, set up the initial appointment for the seller manager to go out and check out the property. Now, even if you're a one-man or one-woman show, and I don't want you to get all out of shape and and start calling me up like, Chris, I don't have a seller manager, I don't have a buyer manager, I'm all by myself. Like, right? Listen, even if you're a solopreneur, for now, you can do this 100% solo. I've done it. Now, the downside is that it will take more energy up front, but the upside is that you get 100% of the profit. So if you're currently a solopreneur, as we go through this video series, remember that the goal is to build a team and take most of these tasks off of your plate and share the responsibility of these tasks with the rest of your team. Doing this will help everyone leverage their time a little bit better by being able to concentrate on doing their individual, that one task exceptionally well. Now, if done correctly, the team will do more deals as a result, and that will eventually result in more profit overall for the whole team. Now, guys, I'm telling you, this process works for me and my business and many of the top wholesalers around the country that are doing millions of dollars per year. Now, this is still one of my goals to start doing millions of dollars per year, but it should be on your list as well if you plan to dominate your market. Again, don't worry if you're all by yourself. I just want you to understand the concepts here. As you implement this process and do more deals, you're going to be able to bring more people aboard and scale your business to the next level. But you definitely need to think of your wholesale structure as a business, and when the time is right, you're going to scale out to the next level. So let's get back to it. The only 2 things that the acquisition manager does is market to sellers and set up the initial appointment for the seller manager to go see that property. Now, with that being said, there are many ways to consistently bring in leads, but before you do that, you're going to need to learn who we are looking for, because we're not looking for everyone. We're not looking for the average home seller that will typically list their pretty homes with a realtor. Now, this is what we call traditional transactions. These types of transactions account for about 95% of all houses bought and sold, and they're typically done with real estate agents and or brokers. As investors and specifically wholesalers, we work on the other 5% of the market. Most of the properties that we buy and sell will not ever make it to the market or be on the MLS. The MLS is an acronym for Multiple Listing Service. Now, the Multiple Listing Service is a system used by licensed real estate professionals which compiles real estate data in local markets and are typically run individually state by state. Now, remember, this is a tool that is used by licensed real estate professionals, typically brokers and realtors. As investors, we don't need a license to buy and sell real estate because we operate from an equity position, meaning that we have some form of ownership stake in the property itself because of how we position ourselves within the transaction and because of the paperwork that we use. Now, brokers and realtors operate as independent contractors that are employed by the owner or the buyer of real estate, or both, and are paid a commission for doing so. Typically, they have no ownership stake or rights to the property as it is bought and sold, unless they have, unless they bought the property or have some kind of ownership stake in the investment themselves. We're going to discuss a little bit more about that in an upcoming video. So to keep it simple, as wholesalers, we focus on off-market deals. Typically, these are those ugly, boarded up or abandoned houses, the pest infested, hoarder houses that realtors and brokers just don't want to touch. Now, with that being said, we are also looking for a certain type of seller, and that is, drum roll please, a motivated seller. That's right, a motivated seller. Yes, we're looking for sellers that have a specific reason why they need to sell. In order for a homeowner to sell at the price that we're going to need to buy it for, the owner must be highly motivated. Now, if they're not motivated, then we probably won't have a deal. And I know your next question probably is, well, how do I know if they're motivated or not, right? Good question. The answer is very simple. It's all a matter of needs versus wants. We simply ask them, why are you looking to sell it right now? And then we shut up and listen very closely to what they say next. What we're looking for are needs, not wants. If the seller tells you, I just want to see what I can get for the property, what did they really just tell you? What was that key word? Well, the key word was want. As investors, our mission is to fulfill needs, and the wants come secondary to both our sellers and our buyers. We're always looking out for those needs. Now, let's say you're talking to an owner and they say, well, I need to sell because it was my mother's house and I now live in Europe and I can't manage the property here and it's been sitting vacant for 7 years since she passed on. What did they just tell you? What was that key word? Need. That's right, need. Remember, we're looking for needs. Now, obviously, it won't be so cut and dry with every seller that you speak with. Sometimes you're going to have to become somewhat of a detective to find out the seller's real motivation. Other times the sellers will come right out and just tell you. Typically, when a seller is really motivated and highly motivated, you're going to know because they will tell you up front. Now, I have a deep dive training on motivated sellers and how to find them and understand their motivation, and another training that I will share with you in a few. But for now, just understand that most of the sellers that we primarily are going to work with have to be motivated. Now let's review some of the easiest ways that you can find them for free. Have you ever heard of Craigslist.com? If not, Craigslist is the world's leading classified ad site, ranging from discussion forums and job postings, computers and automotive services, to more risque stuff like adult dating and escort services. Now, if that's what you're looking for. You name it, Craigslist probably has a section that addresses it. So it should come as no surprise that Craigslist has a massive section dedicated to real estate. They have a section dedicated to both on-market and off-market properties. For the purpose of this video, we're going to focus on the real estate section, specifically the for sale by owner section. Now, if you go into this section, you're going to find that many homeowners will post their properties there for sale. As a new investor, you can actually reach out to these owners and let them know that you're interested in buying their property via email or phone call. You can email them or call them with a simple message. Something like, hi, I'm interested in your property. Is it still available? The goal here is to simply engage with the seller and get some sort of response. As you speak with the owner, remember, you're listening to find out whether they just want to sell or they really need to sell. You know what we're looking for, right? That's right, we're looking for those needs. After you've had the chance to speak with the seller, you want to set up an appointment for either you or your seller manager to go out and visit the property. After the appointment is set up, the acquisitions manager job is done for that particular seller, and we'll go back to looking for sellers and setting up the next appointment. Again, the acquisition manager job is now finished with their duties on this deal and will now return to marketing for other sellers. Remember, this process is ongoing and will never stop as a wholesaler. I repeat, to be a successful wholesaler, you have to have a consistent flow of leads into your business ongoing. It does not stop. As a common rule of thumb throughout the industry, it's probably going to take on average about 20 to 30 processed leads into your business to actually turn into one deal. And then remember that the average deal size for wholesalers is roughly $5,000 to about $15,000 depending on what markets that you live in. So realistically, a good acquisitions manager can process up to 20 to 40 leads per week, once the proper systems are in place. So let's recap the role of the acquisitions manager. This is the person responsible for contacting potential sellers, spot checking them for motivation, and setting up the initial appointment for the seller manager. That's it, that's all. Well, that's it for the acquisition manager in this series. Now, if you're looking for more in-depth information on the acquisition manager and the wholesale process, and also want to start working on your own deals that you can close within the next 30 or 90 days, I would love to get on a call and set up a time for us to talk about your lead acquisition system and personal customized blueprint to put you on the fast track to closing your first deals ASAP.
The ultimate wholesale.